There it goes.
So welcome everyone to the CCRA zoning meeting for March 23rd, 2021. I wanted to welcome everyone. I know not all of you are here for the first case, but let me just first go over the boilerplate for our meeting and the procedures. First of all, I just want to introduce our committee. Our committee is the registered community organization for our area, bounded by South Street, north to JFK Boulevard, and Broad Street, west to the Schuylkill River. Our meeting will go as follows. Please use the Zoom request if you wish to speak. We will ask you to state your name and address the group prior to stating your question. We're going to hear all the cases, and then after we hear them, we will listen to the community comments. And then our committee will either vote to oppose, not oppose, or oppose with provisos. Our group never votes in favor of any application. Our decision will be mailed to the council person, the ZBA, and the applicant. No matter how we decide, if you as a citizen are concerned with the project, we strongly recommend that you attend the ZBA hearing, which we will tell you when it is and the calendar date. So with that, I'm just going to check the chat once more to make sure that there's no one waiting, and then we'll start our first case.
Yeah, I think I've got to get.
Yeah, there's one more person I got to admit. And then Sam, if you could just keep an eye on that for me.
Yep.
I very much appreciate it. Okay, I want to make sure that that Mr. Patterson is here with us. Is he?
I am. Thank you. Good evening.
Very good, Ron. You're unmuted, and I'm just going to go ahead and introduce the case. And I'm going to read the refusal. And then
I
you'll
also have Morris Clark with me from DAS, and Brad Marmon and Gilbert Santana from Hyatt. If you
wonderful. And we have, in addition to our committee, Michael Shade, who was on the original review.
Oh, you're right. Sure. Way back.
And Janice, just to remind, it was a referral, not a refusal,
Right.
Let's see.
or a special exception.
Yep. I have it here. The application is for a roof deck accessory to a non-residential use of an existing structure. But as you know, we have already heard and we've not opposed the roof deck. So this refusal will be for certain setbacks. Oh, can everybody mute who's not going to be presenting, please? Thank you.
David is.
I think somebody has something leaning on their keyboard.
Karen Schmerhorn is the one making the noise.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. So I'll go ahead and read this, the text of the referral. This is for the reduction of a setback on the 13th and 19th floor roof decks for the additional square feet of occupiable area on the 13th floor, 281 square feet, and 184 square feet on the 19th floor roof deck of an existing structure on the same lot with an existing eating and drinking establishment, retail sale, and lobby for office and retail sale, lobby for office building. The wording is leaving much to desire here. I just want to summarize it. It goes on to describe everything on the site, but what we're here to focus on are the setbacks. So Ron, I'll go ahead and let you present.
Ron, please unmute yourself. Ron, you need to unmute yourself. There you
Yeah,
go.
sorry. I thought I had done that. Sorry. I think, Janice, you might be reading the incorrect refusal. If I could share my screen.
Go ahead and why don't you go ahead and read the refusal again?
Sure.
That to make
Okay,
sure.
sure.
Referral.
Referral, yeah, I know. Referral, refusal. Sorry. Here we go. So as you mentioned, it reiterates the entire project. We're asking for, there's a roof deck, and I'll go through the presentation. The building, as constructed, and maybe Morris, you can line up the presentation, but as you know, this goes back to 2012, when we were involved with CCRA and having this approved and reviewed. It went through civic design review. We got our zoning permit in 2012, and as part of this, of the design of the building, and Morris, are you there? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. I
All
can
right,
share my,
let me stop sharing, and you can put on the presentation while I'm speaking. So the building, as approved, did step back from the corner. Yeah, you can go to the next pages of 17th and Chancellor. And on the first floor, you'll see here that there's actually a protrusion on the first floor, and the top of that is actually considered a roof, and that's always been there. So as you'll hear, what we propose to do is utilize that roof, and by utilizing the roof, it actually becomes a roof deck. And in the zoning code, no matter where you are, roof decks can only be used for residential purposes. If they're not used for residential purposes, at least in CMX 4 and 5, you need a special exception approval. If you're somewhere else, it's a refusal. And so that's a little quirk, but it does bring everybody to the table to understand what's going on, what's proposed for this deck. So Morris, if you could show the sky view that shows what improvements you're proposing for the deck area. And I'll just let Morris explain from here. The left side is the existing, and the right side is what's proposed. So Morris, why don't you explain, as far as the setbacks are concerned here. So the refusal is just for the use, nothing having to do with the setbacks.
correct. So, like Ron said, thank you, Ron. Morris Clark, DAS Architects. This is the existing plan on the left-hand side. It's a light green roof. So there's a little bit of shrubbery and just low greenery areas currently. And what we'd like to do is create this small outdoor dining area as part of what's happened with COVID and people looking to be able to be outside. There's the restaurant for this hotel is on the second floor, so they have no ground floor area that they can use. This is a small little area to help them be able to put people outside in this time, wanting to be outdoors and fresh air. So we have our building, which is actually already set back. Our property line is out here this is 17th Street out here to the right. And this is Chancellor, plan south. So our property line is right here at the front of the building on Chancellor Street. And this is actually the front of the building along 17th Street. So we meet the 5-foot setback requirement for our roof deck. We have our parapet wall is here, which is more than 42 inches above this existing paver area, which exists for access to the green roof. We're just going to extend it. So, and then this would be planted with large shrubs to create that 5-foot wall and keep people from being able to put anything on a parapet wall or anything, so that we can keep everything back the 5 feet as required per the zoning code.
You want to show the next slides?
Yep. So I have a couple slides here showing the renderings of the options. So you can see the parapet wall, which exists, the shrubbery that will be planted around the perimeter, along with the tables and the paving area. So these are floating pavers. I have a couple more views. So this is what it looks like from the corner, from the opposite side of the street, looking up at the building there. This is another aerial view, being able to see the people looking kind of down Chancellor here. Again, you can see this is the front property line of the building. So we're, I think, close to 6 or 7, 7 feet back at this point, and over 5 feet back for our paving area on the other side. Just another aerial view, looking down on this.
So,
I did include the zoning drawings here And I can zoom in if we need to, so I can show you the setbacks if you'd like to see on this corner. But as you can see, our property line is along here and it squares off. Our building tapers in here. That's where we're getting the 7-foot setback here and the 5-foot setback here, which is continuous over around the corner. It starts to get bigger from the property line. So on this corner is the closest, and it's over 5 feet from the property line.
And so, this is a special exception. So of course, the issue, generalize it, would be that what we're proposing will have no adverse impact. And in order to understand that, it's important for us to explain really how it's going to be used and what it's going to be used for and who would use it and hours of operation and, noise and all that. So to that extent, if you can unmute Gilbert Santana.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank
So,
you, everyone.
Gilbert, if you just want to let everyone know your name and your affiliation with Hyatt, and then we can explain from there. Sure.
My name is Gilbert Santana. I'm the general manager at the Hyatt Centric Center City, Philadelphia. Yes, and to that point, we're looking, like Morris said, to offer an outside dining experience for guests. Not only because of COVID, but also it's just something that's very attractive to guests. We're looking to sort of expand what we have as a food and beverage outlet and offering the option for guests to dine outside when possible. We're also looking to have those hours of operation meet the internal hours of operation, not to exceed 11 p.m. It's a pretty small area, so we think that maximum capacity is around 22 seats. Is what we're seeing, between 20 and 22. Also not offering any music, any loud noises. It's just a dining experience for guests that want the option to be outside. And also with COVID, a lot of guests are actually opting to eat outside in their room or leave the hotel. So it's really just a little more of an enhancement. It does connect to a corridor that meets at our restaurant, which is about 50 feet away. And I believe that that'll be the extent of what we're looking to do there. It's not very elaborate. It doesn't allow for a lot of, exaggerated meetings. So we're just looking to have that as a complement to our food and beverage area.
And just to I guess, state some more obvious items. There's what you've mentioned are pretty much provisos that the association, is interested in. And so in addition to that, there would be no live bands, no dance floor. Even though
No, not at all.
I want to state it just so.
Absolutely, positively, no live bands,
Okay.
no outdoor. It's just really a dining experience for anyone that wants to eat outside.
That's what we have, and of course, entertain any questions, concerns. Morris, you want to go back to one of the renderings?
Yep.
Ron, before we start with our go around, I just
Sure.
would like there to be, if we possibly could, can we talk about the view from the street? Can you see anything from the street? Umbrellas. Okay.
The umbrellas, yeah. You can see the umbrellas, and maybe a little bit of the top, the shrubs for the green roof, but that would be the limit. We'd like the shrubs to be a little bit higher than the wall, to prevent people from wanting to, be in the shrubs. We want them to be thick and be a barrier up there.
Thank you. Ron, is that all the commentary that your team has at the moment? Can I?
Yes.
Okay, very good. I'd like to start then with Doug. Do you have any questions?
Might be muted.
Everybody just remember to unmute themselves there.
Sorry, no questions.
Thank you. Ben?
Which Ben?
Ben Z.
Yeah, I'm just curious, what's the height of that parapet wall from this surface that people will be standing on?
It's 42 inches. It meets code.
Okay. That's all, thanks.
Okay, Sam?
Yes, any additional lighting?
Oh, good question.
No, there's existing lighting on the inside face of this that just shines down for foot lighting. There will be no overhead lighting added as part of this.
And can we put a condition in that you allow Little Pete's to move back into the ground floor?
I think you just named it.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Okay, I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Bob Lane.
I have a practical question. I think this is a lovely idea, but having a mezzanine in my own home here, I designed the railing so that people could not set a drink or something on it. Not possible, so it could get knocked over. I'm just looking at the wall there and thinking that this could be events out there. People will put something on the wall and it can get knocked over and hit somebody on the street. Is there any way you could put a rail, I mean, I don't know if this is really a zoning issue, but put something so that nothing would fall off there and hit somebody on the street? Do you understand
Mars,
what I'm getting at?
Mars, could you go back to the aerial view?
Yep.
So I mean, if
So-
somebody would have
No,
set a
the closer
drink,
one, the closer one, sorry, I'm sorry.
Yep, sorry.
Back further. Yeah, there we go. So we can see what.
Yep.
So we have a 5 foot setback of shrubs. I guess the question is right where the shrubs will begin. Can you put some kind of barrier there?
I
Or
mean,
is that adequate?
the thought was we could do this with the shrubs by making them taller and thick so that people weren't reaching through there. There's also that shrub area is 30 plus inches wide to kind of keep people from doing that. The existing parapet wall has a cap on it that does slope forward. You wouldn't be able to put something on it. It would.
okay, good. So it does.
It has a pitch. It has a pitch to the front
Excellent.
to shed water and snow and ice and everything. So you wouldn't. It's not flat. You wouldn't be able to put something on it to begin with.
Okay, and will it slant in toward the?
It slants. It does not slant in. It slants. It pitches out to the street.
Yeah, because people would at a party or an event would be likely to step through the shrubs so that they could lean over and look out. I just think that's predictable human nature, and especially if it's pitched away, somebody, especially if they had a couple of drinks, puts something down there, it falls down, hits somebody on the head. I would think you'd want to design that for your own liability.
Maybe we could put some kind of foot curb there.
Yeah, we can discuss with Hyatt if we can put something to prevent people from using it like a shelf. We can definitely look at that. We were hoping to do like box shrubs that people wouldn't be able to just push through. Something a little thicker.
Well, if they can't get through, then that solves it. But
Yeah.
human nature is that they'd want to move up there and look over because that's what people do. But
Yeah.
that's my only point. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Michelle.
Hi, my question is there a dining service on the same level as this roof deck?
Yes, there is.
That's where it is. Okay. And how long has the hotel been open now? Couple of years?
October 1st of 2020. So it'll be the 6 months anniversary at the end of this month.
Okay, thank you.
All right. How about Robin?
No questions.
Thank you. Jacob? While Jacob is unmuting, I just want to make sure, Mike Shade, if you would like to ask any questions, please feel free.
I'll go next.
No questions from me.
Okay, you can.
I would just say that the proposal, though, was not specifically shown when we did the community benefits agreement back in 2014. We knew there was a door there. We knew there was going to be a deck there. And there was no objection at that time when we did the CBA to this being an occupied space. So I think it's within the spirit of the approval that we had at that time.
Thank you. Is there anybody here from the community that would like to ask questions?
Janice, before we do that, can I just ask a few
I have
things?
a question. Ben Weiner.
Oh, sorry, Ben, I missed you.
It happens all the time. No worries.
Please jump in.
Thank you. Not to beat a dead horse, I think it's a great idea. No objections. But if it was a residential situation, that 5-foot line would need a physical barrier. And can't you just put a simple railing at the curb planting edge, especially since I know how the landscape architects design it so these shrubs don't choke each other out. It's going to take a couple years for them to fill in to the point where they're full, especially where the existing drain and overflow area is, where the shrubs obviously are going to be further spaced out. Can't you just put a railing at the curb planting edge to make sure that people do not cross the line that you're intending them not to cross?
I guess we could explore that. We were hoping that we could kind of leave it be soft with the plant with the shrubs and the plants, and that people wouldn't step all over the plants in doing this with the setback. We were hoping we could avoid having that hard edge right there, just because it is small, and we're trying to get have 20 people out here for use, and that little bit of extra room for someone moving their arm or something when they're moving around, not hitting a railing system. We thought it just felt a little more comfortable for the
Could be
use.
lower than 42 inches.
Oh, you're fine with it being just if we just made like a foot curb? Like,
well, I think for everybody's protection, especially the hotels, you not want any intoxicated people being tempted. That's all.
Yeah.
The plants are going to take years to fill in to make a solid hedge.
Yeah, I mean, we were gonna buy some. We were definitely talking to a landscaper about getting mature shrubs to put up there, but we could definitely this kind of curb that's here already. Instead of that being just kind of a small couple-inch curb, we could look to make that taller so that it's something that is more like a step.
Thank you, Ben. Also,
Did Evan ask? Did you ask Evan?
I don't see Evan. Is Evan here? And then also
Yeah, I'm here. No questions.
Okay, how about Veronica?
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. My question was similar to Bob's and to Ben's. It just seems to me that with guests, and this, I'm sure this will be a really attractive venue, there's the question of people throwing something over accidentally, leaning over themselves, or things falling over. I think that that's been discussed extensively, and so I don't have a question about it. But I wanted to lend my voice to, to this series of concerns, both for our group as well as for the hotel's interest.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Did I miss anybody else on our committee?
If I could ask a few questions real fast.
Sure.
I've got one.
So Ron, you hinted at this earlier. If CCRA requested provisos, so for example, no amplified music, no live music, that sounds like that's something that would be agreeable to the applicant. Is that correct?
Yes, and we still have time that if we need to go back and revise something or agree to the conditions, our hearing's not until May, so we have time to at least respond to your request and firm this up, even if we have to just appear for 5 minutes next time.
Okay.
If that's what you want to do.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I do.
Janice? Oh,
Yes, Ben.
okay. Would you be okay with a proviso in there that you would not have a bar set up outside with people standing around having drinks rather than sitting at the tables?
Yeah, from a Hyatt standpoint, we don't believe we'll put a bar out there. If someone does need a drink, we'd have a cocktail server bring it from the bar, which is about 50 feet away. The indoor
I'm
bar.
just thinking of people gathering there with drinks in a bar.
So yeah, so your question is no, or statement would be no bar service outside.
Yeah.
Like a bar stand, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
I do think we can stop share, and I would like to again see if there's anyone here from the neighborhood that would like to ask any questions. Okay, seeing none. Ron, Thank you very much for your
Oh,
presentation.
thank you.
Your team, and Mike Shade, thank you for your service.
Great. It was nice seeing you all. Thank you.
Gilbert, thank you for your presentation on behalf of the Hyatt.
Thank you.
Be
Thank
back.
you for the consideration.
Yes, thank you.
All right, our next case. Up. This is, the next case is 222 Market Street. I believe we're hoping that Mr. Careless is here.
I'm here.
Very good.
Yep.
I'm going to just quickly read the refusal. And by the way, it may be a referral. I do want to apologize. Last time I did pick up the wrong piece of paper to read. So let's hope I do a little bit better this time. This application is for the reduction of the setback on 13th and 19th floor roof decks and for the additional square feet of occupiable area on the 13th floor, 281 feet, and 184 square feet on the 19th floor roof deck of an existing structure. Okay. Take it away.
Thank you, Janice, and good evening, everyone. Bob Careless, nice to see everyone again. I'm an attorney at Cozen O'Connor. I'm joined tonight by my colleague, Tom Witt. I'm also joined by Wally Mumbugunje from on behalf of the applicant, Market West Associates, and Alex Clore from our design team, Gensler. This project, as you know, has been before you actually twice in the recent past. First, in connection with our civic design review for the new professional office building for Morgan Lewis at 2222 Market Street, which is now under construction. And then second, with respect for a special exception to permit the accessory use of 2 outdoor areas as roof decks on the 13th and 19th floors of that new office building. You may recall at the time that we were before you with respect to our application for a special exception, we had indicated that we'd be returning to you for the present application to adjust the railings on the 13th and 19th floor roof decks. I'm going to share my screen here. Everyone see that? Okay. Just as a point of orientation, our decks on the 13th floor and 19th floors are highlighted here. We have Market Street and a large surface parking lot to our north. The Culinary Arts Building is to our west across 23rd Street, and the 23A condominium building is to our south across Ludlow Street. Just for some perspective, as I discussed the last time around, 23A is approximately 118 feet in height. Our 13th floor roof deck here is at an elevation of approximately 198 feet, or approximately 80 feet above the top of 23A. Also, as I discussed with you at the last meeting, we have a CBA in place with 23A, which contemplates these roof decks and provides that the use of the decks are limited to uses accessory to the office building and not for any purpose which would constitute a nuisance. And that covenant is also found in our lease with Morgan Lewis. So as Janice indicated, this application is mixed in the sense that we have a referral and refusals. I'll first walk through the 4-dimensional variances that we're requesting that would comprise the refusals. On the 13th floor, currently, as approved, we are maintaining a 5-foot setback from the building line. And what our application is requesting is to maintain a 3-foot setback here along Market Street, along 23rd Street, and then a 3-foot 3-inch setback here along Ludlow Street. And then up here in the top left corner is just sort of a diagonal drawing or rendering of the railing, showing you again the setback here, maintaining a 2-foot space here of non-occupied space between the parapet and the proposed railing. On the 19th floor, we're requesting a dimensional variance to maintain a 3-foot 9 setback here from the building line. I'll note that we are adjusting the railings on the 23rd Street frontage here, where I'm indicating, and our eastern facing railings here as a matter of right, not part of this application before you tonight. Now leading into the special exception application, as a result of these railing adjustments, the occupiable space on the 13th floor will increase by 281 square feet, and the occupiable area on the 19th floor roof deck will increase by 184 square feet. We are also, as part of the special exception application here, requesting the use of an additional 346 square feet of occupiable area, which is on the 19th floor and along the 23rd Street frontage roof deck. This is in addition to what was before you last time around. And again, especially those additional areas of occupiable space that are resulting from the variance, the dimensional variances here, and this additional area of occupiable space along the 23rd Street frontage on the 19th floor deck is what's comprising the referral component of our notice. And again, same view here up top on the level 19, and we have some dimensions here. So that comprises our application before you tonight. And I don't have anything further to the committee. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have.
You're muted, Janice.
Okay, we're going to start at the bottom of the list this time. We'll start with Evan, please.
I don't have any questions.
Thank you. Veronica.
Can you clarify for us the intended use of these outdoor roof decks, please?
These are accessory uses to the professional office building. It was subject to our special exception application the last time we were around.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Veronica. Ben W.
Ben, you're muted.
Oh, sorry, the purpose of the additional 2 feet?
Morgan Lewis at their current location at 1701 Market has the railings at or near the edge of the building. We're at the request, we're here seeking to reduce the setback here to give the same or trace the similar experience that they have at their current location. Again, we feel that this is under the de minimis nature of dimensional variances, a modest reduction of the 5-foot setback in order to achieve the same experience that they may have at 1701 Market.
And has there been any discussion with the pending building across 23rd Street?
Not to my knowledge.
Thanks, Ben. Next is Jacob.
No questions.
Next is Robin.
No questions.
Thank you. Ben Z.
Nothing.
Michelle.
I'm just curious as to why you added that extra little rectangular space, I think on the 19th floor, that had not been included before.
If I may just to give you an answer from our design team, could I ask Mr. Alex Clore to come off and field that question?
Yeah, sure. So that was just to give some additional occupiable square footage when you're looking from the interior, out towards 23rd Street, providing some occupiable terrace there that people could continue to mingle sort of around the 23rd Street side.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Michelle. Bob Lane.
No questions.
Sam.
Yeah, first, what's the occupancy of both the decks? Number of people allowed? Alex, it's probably you.
Yeah, I have to double check that for you, see how many people we would allow up there.
Okay. Another question, Dermal. Is there going to be amplified music?
There may be. I would reiterate the discussion that we had last time, which this is a professional office building. This isn't a restaurant or a bar. I can tell you that this 13th floor terrace right here is off their cafeteria. The 19th floor deck here would be the host of maybe some professional events. There may be some music, but I can assure you that knowing Morgan Lewis, it's an international law firm. People are there well into the night. I wouldn't expect there to be concerns of amplified music like you would have at a nightclub or a restaurant.
I know a few lawyers, they can party pretty good. Is there going to be alcohol service out there? Is there alcohol service planned for those terraces?
There may be alcohol that's permitted out on the terraces, if that's your question.
Right, okay. Thank you, that's it.
Thank you, Sam. Okay, lastly, Doug M. Are you all set, Doug?
Sorry, no questions.
Okay,
Can I jump in if the committee's done?
certainly.
Or after you, actually, Janice?
I'm fine. Thank you. Go ahead, Wade.
Okay. And Bob, just to be clear, I know you mentioned this before. It's correct that that your client has a separate CBA with the folks over at 23A condominiums, correct?
That's correct, Wade.
And that CBA, I believe, spells out hours of operation that they're okay with. I mean, operation is probably not the correct word, but hours in which the outdoor space would be used, right?
No, it provides that the uses are limited to only uses that are accessory to the office building, and under no circumstance can they constitute a nuisance. So that's the covenant that's in both the CBA with the 23A condominium building and also with Morgan Lewis in their lease.
Okay, thank you.
That represents all the questions from the committee. Is there anyone from the neighborhood that would like to ask questions? All right. Well, Bob, thank you to you and your team for coming tonight. We really appreciate your responsiveness.
Thank you, Janice.
I'll be back to
Thank you,
you.
everyone. Have a good night.
Good night. All right, our next case. 2006 through 8 Sansom Street. This is an application for a sit-down restaurant at the first floor, business and professional office at the second floor, and a single-family household living at the third floor in an existing structure. The refusal is that the proposed single-family household living is prohibited in this zoning district. Do we have the applicant here? I think it's Neil Skalaroff.
Yes.
Good evening, Neil. How are you?
Good evening. Thank you.
Nice to see you.
I will try to get this PowerPoint up. Good evening again. Thank you. My name is Neil Skalaroff. I'm with the law firm of Dilworth Paxson, and I'm here representing Demcourt 2 and Sansom 33 Realty. This is a rather simple application. We're seeking a use registration permit to use the third floor of the building at 2006 to 08 Sansom Street for an apartment. The city looks at it as a single family residence. In February of this year, Sansom 33 Realty acquired an assemblage of properties on Sansom Street from 2004 to 2012. Sansom acquired that from Demcourt 2. We have a zoning board of adjustment hearing coming up on May 2nd at 2 p.m. The properties that were acquired are 2004 through 2012. This is a shot going west from 2004 up to the end of Melagranos at 2010, 2012.
Well, pardon, we're not, are you showing a screen?
I'm trying to.
Is anyone else seeing a screen share?
No.
Okay.
Let me see if,
I can help you out, Neil. I'll put up the presentation if you have trouble. I'm going to go get it right now.
All right, let me,
See your keyboard, Neil.
you see my keyboard is because I've put that down because I have a larger screen that I prefer to use. And let me see if I can.
Okay, Neil, I've got it for you if you want me to present.
If you would, I'll appreciate that.
You say when.
Yes, if you would go to the next slide, please. These are two photographs, east and west, showing the one on the left, 2004 to 2012. That's the end of the first white building toward the middle of the block. And the photograph on the right is from Melagranos toward the east. Next slide, please. To the left is a photograph showing 2006 on the left, and to the right is 2008. 2006 has been used as a comic store, a retail store for a long time. On the right was a store that sold brewery materials. Second floor was used as an office, and the third floor has traditionally, as we'll see in a moment, been used as an apartment. To the right, you'll see the back of 2008. It says there, Negranos, and as we go forward, I'll show you why that is part of 2008 and why the application says a sit-down restaurant. We're not doing anything new here. And as we look at the floor plans, that'll become more clear. Next slide, please. To the left is a view going east on Moravian Street, and to the right is an aerial view showing 2004 through 2012, Sansom Street. Next slide, please. Again, to the left is from the city website, and it shows 2006 illustrated in blue, which goes from Sansom Street to Moravian Street. On the right is the first of a few slides of the third floor apartment. Next slides, please. It has a kitchen, has a closet, it's a beam ceiling. Next slides. There's a restroom. To the right is a photograph of one of the more recent tenants. Next slide, please. Kept the bedroom very nice. The kitchen maybe not so well. To the right is the zoning map from the Atlas, and that is 2006 shown, and we're in a CMX4 district, which does not allow a single family dwelling or a two-family dwelling. It does allow for multi-family dwellings. This is obviously a multi-use building, but there's only one apartment. Next slide, please. Again, this is from the city's website, illustrating front to back of 2006 and 2008. Next slide, please. To the left is a 1958 housing approval showing residential use at 2006 to 2008, and it's dated 1958. To the right is a 1949 use permit, which describes the uses on the first and second floor for typesetters, and on the third floor was a one-family dwelling, which is what we're asking for now. However, in 1998, there's a permit in the files where part of 2008 was used by 2010 as an exit. Next slide, please. This is the basement floor and the first floor. If you'll notice between, and these shows all 5 of the properties that were included in the transfer. but it explains what's going on. To the bottom is the restaurant use, and it got approval to breach the wall. And what's maybe showing on your screen, but not on mine, to the right is the exit that we saw that said 2008 on Moravian Street, leading to Melograno's. And that gave the exit back in 1998. Next screen, please. In 2008, the owner of Melograno got a use permit to allow the restaurant to use that area that was to the rear on the first floor of 2008 that was adjacent to the exit way. That's why this application talks about a restaurant. The front is not used as a restaurant, as you know. So that's why this application is as it reads, and the refusal, the description of the use. But we're looking for a use registration permit just for the third floor. Next slides, please. This is the application for appeal. The zoning history of this property is difficult to follow. It's mostly under the address of 2004. Many of the applications are in some combination of these addresses. And so L&I, or the zoning unit, now in accordance with a code bulletin, considers its own files to be the zoning lots, and therefore they have 2006 and 2008 as the zoning lot for the purposes of this application. Next, please. In your request for submissions, you asked for a survey of the petition of the neighbors. While I normally don't recommend during COVID anybody going door to door, Vin Chow, who is with us this evening, did go to some of the neighbors and get this approval. Of course, we're 2004 and we're 2010, and we support this. I think that ends my presentation. It's very simple compared to what you've been listening to, and I'd be pleased to answer any questions.
Does anybody on the committee have any further questions?
I just have one.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Bob.
Hi, Neil. How are you?
I'm good.
Are there any single family on that block? 2000 block of Sansom's a unique and wonderful block. Are there any single families there?
We have at 2010, 2012, we have a 2-story, 1 apartment at that address.
And are those the ones, have you spoken to them? How do they feel about this? Are they ones who support it?
Well, there are tenants.
Ah, okay.
I don't know that we've actually gone to them. And we haven't heard from other neighbors. I can't imagine. We have I guess an apartment house across the street, and you're more familiar with the block than I. But this is a use that's been going on for at least 15 years that Vin knows, since he's been there. And traditionally, if this hadn't been noted as vacant when the 1998 permit was issued, we probably wouldn't be having this discussion.
Understood.
So the 2010 and 2012 are described, and all the other of these 5 buildings are described also in this application for 2006. And it's unclear. There are a lot of cross-outs, and this is vacant.
This block
2004 is vacant apartment.
Yeah. This is part of the Greenwich Village of Philadelphia. No more questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have one question. So under the zoning district, just to refresh my memory, if you had 3 units, you'd be good.
Yes.
Okay, so what you're asking for is less than what's required, what's allowed.
Fewer than what's allowed.
Yes. Okay.
Is there anyone here from the public that is?
Oh, Janice?
Yes.
Sorry, it's Michelle. Yeah. So do you envision that whoever, for example, may own the restaurant would be living upstairs?
That's if they want to rent it as a tenant. But they're not, this unit is not directly above the restaurant. Because it's in the front. The third floor is not front to back. So the restaurant on 2008 is really the rear of the building toward Moravian Street.
Well, I was just thinking about it because I was wondering about the combination of residences and restaurants in that block area, because the photo showed a mouse trap on the top of the range.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. We didn't want to hide that. I showed you some photographs of one of the last tenants, and it certainly, we operate the second floor as an office and have forever. And if we had that kind of rodent problem, we would try to remove it. So but I wasn't, since that was a photograph I had that showed you the kitchen and that was operated and there was somebody living there, I wasn't going to conceal it from you.
Well, no, I understand that. But my question is the combination of residences and restaurants creating more of a rodent problem or not?
Well, the restaurant's been there for a while, so I really can't answer that question, but the restaurant is not below this unit.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else on the committee? Seeing none. Anyone from the neighborhood community?
Yeah, if I may ask a question, my name's David Sliske. I live and own at 2015 Moravian Street, and I know Karen is here from 2009 and 2011, and Iris, who's here, lives at 2047. Just to follow up on Bob's comment, we are all single-family homes on the other side of on Moravian Street from a zoning perspective. The question to you, Neil, is can you tell us a little bit about how trash will be handled for this property?
I believe trash is from the outside, but probably stored the inside. There is a dumpster in the back, but Vin, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm sorry. My internet was lagging.
That's better than what mine did. Could you answer the question of how trash is handled from the third floor apartment?
Yeah, the tenants will put their trash out Monday nights on Sansom.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just another residential trash on the sidewalk. No containers.
Cool. I mean, it's just, I think the concern from the neighbors on our side is that, there's just a lot of dumpsters and they aren't necessarily picked up.
Right. No, the apartments, they've been there. They've been there, and it just continues as an apartment.
Cool. Karen or Iris? You're on mute, Karen.
No questions.
Iris, did you have any questions?
Maybe not, but thank you so much. Or Iris, there you are.
Hi. I don't have any additional questions right now. It seems Emilio heard everything and doesn't have any questions, so I'm fine.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's everyone that I can see that, that would be outside of our committee. Thank you all for attending from the community, and thank you to also Neil for your presentation. We'll be back to you.
Thank you very much. You all have a safe and happy day.
Okay. For the next case, it's not exactly what we normally do. We've already voted on this case, and it went to the zoning board. And since then, the CCRA board has been involved in considering what's next. So I would like Wade, if you wouldn't mind, to describe what the board wants the zoning committee to look at tonight.
Sure, thank you. I don't see Justin Crick on here.
Only Paul.
No.
No, okay. Well, I can at least talk about it then. I don't know, is this are we in executive session technically, or?
No.
I know I see a few other people from the public over here, so. Okay, just with regard to this matter, if you recall, this was a case that we heard twice, and it was with regard to a property on 16th Street that the applicant was seeking to there was a request for a variance because the applicant is seeking to build residential units in the building, and they're based on the square footage of the units and the number, more of the number that are going into this unit, that the property needs to have a certain square footage and it doesn't. So the variance was to allow the number of units based on the square footage. Now, the big issue with us was not the density, but it was the fact that to give them a little bit more square footage, they proposed a addition in the back of the property that we believed was going to be out of character with the rest of the block. And importantly, Avi, I'm sorry, my cat's meowing at me. Avi Eden, who owns a number of properties on that block, objected to the design. For the same reason, believing that it was out of character. So initially, we had sent the developer and Avi Eden to go to see if they worked out their differences. They couldn't, came back, and as a result, CCRA voted to oppose the project. The ZBA hearing was held a few weeks ago, and the ZBA voted to deny the variance for the reasons that that I put on the record. And I was supported by both Councilman Johnson's office. I see Pierre is on the phone, so thank you very much. And we were also supported by the Planning Commission. Since that has happened, Justin Crick, the attorney for the applicant, reached out to me. And he said that he would like to reach some sort of a resolution where they sent some redesigns. And I know that a few people who are on right now have seen it. Janice has seen it. I know that I believe Sam has seen it. I believe that Veronica has seen it, possibly a couple other people. I know Bob has seen it as well. The redesign, there is no extension in the back. There's no addition in the back. It's the property with its current envelope. And basically they're looking to build, I believe, 7 units with the existing structure. And so the developer has asked that if we basically agree to a settlement, saying that we're okay with these plans. So there would be a little bit more work involved in reaching that settlement, but in principle, I know that the executive committee for CCRA is on board with this, but wanted to refer it back to the committee for your discussion. And then one other point that I think is really important is that when I was speaking with Justin Crick, I said that we would generally, I would imagine, be amenable to that resolution, especially because we had never objected really to the density issue. Our objection was really to the addition. And I said, but the problem that we have was that the addition could have been built by right. So I wanted to prevent the situation where they came back to us, or actually they wouldn't come back to us if they came back to zoning after getting their variance and said, now we would like a second bite of the apple. We want to build this by right, and they would be able to do that. And so Justin said that he would agree to some sort of a proviso or a carve out saying that they're not going to do that. So I've yet to see that language, but in principle, that is what they said they would be happy to do. So with that,
Can I a point of order?
Yes.
May, I'm not sure who is on this, who is not a member of the committee. So a name or two I don't recognize. Can we have an executive session in confidence to further discuss this?
Absolutely, yeah, and we should vote on that in executive session. So, yes,
I think it'd be better to have this conversation.
absolutely. Yep.
Privately. Yeah.
Agreed.
Janice, you're muted.
Pierre,
Sirens in the background. Are there any other elements of the proposal to be presented to us before we, deliberate? For example, Wade, are the plans available for posting?
They are. I actually, listen, I could put them on. I need to retrieve them from my email, and we can look at them in executive session, but I do have them. I thought Justin said that he was going to attend this meeting, so I was, hoping that he was going to have them, but I can pull.
Well, I guess out of courtesy, I'd like to then find out, the only person besides Pierre is Paul Siegel. And Paul, would you like to see the plans before because this is a public meeting we don't want to have information not available to the public when the public is wanting to see it. So I'm just, I have a query out there to Paul, if you're listening. He may be eating supper. I'm going to try the chat.
And Paul and Pierre, you're muted if you want to say something.
Hi, yes, this is Franz Pierre, Councilmember Johnson's office. No, that's fine. If the board wants to go to the executive session, that's fine with me.
Pierre, you've seen the plans, or you're generally in concept in favor? I wouldn't say in favor. You don't have a strong feeling about it?
No, typically the council member has a long history where he'll defer to the registered community organization. So even I have not seen the plans as of yet. I know that his stance will be where the community stands.
Well, thank you, and thank him too, from all of us.
Of course, no problem.
Right.
I guess with that being said, I'll let you get to your executive session and I'll hop off.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Just letting the rest of the committee know, I couldn't get Paul to respond, so I will be stopping the recording and, there and I will be putting him in the waiting rooms. Just give me a second.
he's in. I put him in the waiting room.
Thank you very much.